syncs up. For Christ's sake. Alright. So I figured that would be like maybe the easiest and laziest way to segue into something that I need to talk about while wearing this hat. On 4/19, 420 Eve. Important 420. Because, you know, like, people think I'm a Nazi. I gotta remember this thing can't record if I get too far away, so I'll finish saying what I'm gonna say and I'll back. Yeah, it's like, that's red, white, and black, and people are like, he's a Nazi, look at the hat, he's a socialist, and so, in preparation for this nonsense, I figured I'd, at least to the best of my ability, attempt to clear up some kind of weird kind of rumors concerning red, white, and black, and how they kind of are affiliated with Sega. So, again, I'm going to try to do this to the best of my ability. It could be wrong, but I'm going to try to talk about the history of that, why the whole Nazi yada yada, and why that is not what Sega is. Okay, so, alright, I'm going to attempt to do that over Pinball. So, this is Sega over Pinball. Bloody hell. What kind of bullshit. Alright. Oh, Christ. Okay. Jesus. That's the camera. What the? Alright. Alright. Jesus God. Okay. It'll be inept. First, like, 10 seconds. Okay. So now I gotta keep my face extra close to this damn mic. Alright. So, basically, red, white, and black. Why the Nazis took that over, or tried to, they didn't really take it over. It's older than the Nazis, clearly. It's older than, frankly, Germany. They're pretty much just relative to, like, noble bloodlines or whatever the fuck. Okay, cursing. Basically, red, white, and black is reminiscent of the black and white is basically skin color, and for some Freemasonic cultures basically means magic or something like that. And the red equals blood, or the blood that binds them all. So pretty much, it even also means noble and non-noble as far as black and white is concerned. So what it really says is all. It's not like a symbol of, like, racism or whatever. It's not at all. It's actually... Oh my God. What the hell's happening? What the hell is that? Okay. It's pretty much like... Okay. That's what it means. There's a couple of other variants, for instance. There's yellow and black of the Asians, which is more like a dragon interpretation of noble. Like, and some certain Europeans will say things like, what do you call it? Oh God. I won't go into the Eastern interpretation of, like, say, like demon just basically meaning noble, like or oni meaning noble, as opposed to, like, the Western interpretation of demon, which means, like, evil something. Like, yeah, the word demon, say, in Japanese culture is a lot more lax. It just means, like, someone of a warlike bloodline. It doesn't mean... And it could just be because of, like, the war culture of Japan. But anyways, well, anyhow. Oh, Christ. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, so anyhow. So to recap, red, white, and black means all. It does not mean, what do you call it? It doesn't mean Nazi. Like, but what you're seeing with the swastika, what you're seeing is basically what that is, what that means, is pretty much like the black, since that's basically relative to black magic or warfare or warlike thought processes, like, that's more like, it's basically saying you're going to spread to, like all the corners of the earth, you know, northwest, east, south, northwest, blah, 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 8. Yeah, so because, you know, people are like, oh, we gotta make... There's another reason, because I got an 8-ball here, for reasons. I'm not gonna go into quite yet, but it's not that. Jesus Christ. Basically for 8 metal minutes. Anyways, they're basically gonna spread to the corners of the earth by force. That's what the swastika means. Whatever. Anyways. Okay. So now what is Sega then? Why the red, white, and black relative to Genesis? Why the Master System? Like that sounds Nazi. It's red, white, and black, but it's got the word Master in it. But what's with the Mega Drive? You know, like, bloody Christ. Bloody fuck. Getting my ass kicked. I gotta pay more attention to this. Okay. Alright. So, basically, in World War II or whatever, at the Nuremberg trials, basically, there were a couple of, like, companies or whatever, post, like, all the tragedies of World War II and whatever, that were pretty much, like, founded based on, what do you call it, money essentially allocated from, well, just the Nuremberg trial, so German money, like, with deals that we're not gonna go in too deep into that, but basically, certain corporations were founded on this, and basically, Sega was one of them, but not all had the positive ideology of the majority of the shareholders of Sega. And so some of them, like, kind of wanted to be like, what do you call it, Nazi-esque or whatever the hell it is, and Sega said no, basically. They're like, fuck this, no. Fuck off. Whatever. You're saying that isn't, yeah, whatever. Anyhow. Bloody. Anyways. So they said no. Purchased stock in their company, and basically we're in a fight with, like, this group of people. And, they won, but at a kind of a great expense. And again, this is like, you know, if I'm wrong, then Sega can just say this is all bullshit. But like, they pretty much wanted basically, noble bloodlines, red, white, and black is relative to the noble interpretation of giants in Genesis, to suggest that essentially there's some kind of, basically, the nobles should essentially follow the path of justice or something like that. And so there was like some noble culture relative to the concept of a console named Genesis. That's red, white, and black. Of course, but basically this group of people that were kind of like pro-Nazi-esque were, like, after being ousted from Sega, and understanding that Sega is pretty, like, basically means like sage, or it can be an anagram for sage of the ages, you know, because sage, ages, yada yada. You get it. You mix up the letters and yada yada. So anyhow, so you have like they pretty much said like, all right, Sega, Genesis, Mega Drive, etc. Like what we're gonna do is, like, we're just gonna kind of harass you with the kind of a, what do you call it, the political power we've amassed over the years, right? And what they're gonna do, what they do after that is, oh my god. Okay. So... Christ, lost my fucking... I haven't completely lost my train of thought, but... Alright. So anyways, they got your Mega and your Genesis, right? Your Mega Drive and your Genesis. Ah, shite. Alright. Oh, Christ. Alright. Oh my god, just... Oh my god. Oh my god. Shit! Okay. Anyhow. So, you now had like a company basically claiming that we've got a Sega Genesis. It's a sage of the ages relative to biblical scripture and yada yada. It's like relative to noble culture, etc. Bloody hell. It's my fault. I'm just thinking about all this stuff. Anyways. Yeesh. Oh, Christ. Alright. So they had to, like... So basically they were like, we're gonna challenge you. We're gonna basically... Or we're gonna attack you using media, etc. And so Sega had to go through this kind of, like, long litigation process. Whatever. Yeah. This long litigation process is probably why, you know, like... There are certain people that, you know, kind of, like, want to... I don't know. They basically just wanted Sega fucked over, more or less. Because, I mean, like, because pretty much at that time the country was getting more passively Satanist extremist in certain regards. And, like, the punctuation on that was kind of like they wanted to essentially destroy, something that was called, like, the Dreamcast. Because of the name, you're trying to cast a dream into reality. It is a very, like, kind of American concept relative to, with the symbol of relative, it's a very kind of optimistic, noble belief system, or thought process. So, I mean, I don't really necessarily want to put Sega on blast and all this stuff, but this coming, like, 420 with all the stupid people, all this retarded Corona bullshit going on, excuse my language, it becomes kind of like, you know, like, I've even gone so far as to invest myself in playing the guitar into this terrible microphone over Hilltop Zone. But no, like... Basically, if you've heard of, like, these... There's basically a kind of an influencer group that essentially despises... As you might have heard of, like, internet influencers. There's an influencer group that despises Sega. That predates, you know, like, YouTube and... all this other crap that basically is just around to, like, destroy it because of these references. Like, biblical, etc., yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, there are people that just have, like, you know, the traditional, like, kind of Nintendo rivalry, like, towards Sega. Like, but that's just normal. That's just like, you know, you had your 80s and 90s rivalries. This happened to be a 90s rivalry. Or more famously a 90s rivalry. Bit war, so to speak. Like, that's normal, whatever. But there are other people that just, like, have a real hate on. So now, like a small history lesson, I guess. Concerning, like... Because, I mean, you might have, like, seen my channel, like... what is it? Basically Surreal some years ago, if you can, like, see this. Because I've seen basically like a comment section for people who have not seen the video. That's spam, yeah. But it's like, within context, there's been other, like, kind of deniable communication concerning this stuff. Like, and also, like, you know, advice and tips on how to drive faster. Goddamn. Bloody hell. I'm playing with the arcade stick. Jesus Christ. Okay. So, which I appreciate. There's been some people trying to show me some more 70s style driving techniques, that 80s Group B Lancia, which is some. Ugh. But anyhow, God. Whatever. So anyways. Okay. So if you like think that like this kind of like Nazi mentality is like kind of like a small thing, or it's kind of a passing thing, like you're kind of mistaken, and I hate to break it to you. It's actually like, while not exactly in the most traditionally like racist belief systems that you might think they might have, it's around, and it hates Sega. But regardless, it's like, okay, if you've seen that Surreal video, if you've ever wondered like why, like it's whatever, it's in the past, but the fact is people have seen it enough to think that I'm the Antichrist based on it. Yeah. Like, I've been treated like Frankenstein based on that fucking video. So people have seen it, but there's no views. It's not like it can be monetized or whatever. But like, one of the reasons is because it's basically criticizing Nazis. They have like, from a private military corporate perspective, a kind of ability to mess with people. If that makes any sense. Like, it's what makes up, it's what some of the agreements for basically like for military secrets and certain like research that Hitler did back in the day. That was some of the, what do you call it, the trades of the Nuremberg trials, which is why, you know, you have all these, well, with respect to Germany, kind of like rich German companies after World War II, when theoretically, like, after World War I, they were impoverished. It's because the deals they made with the United States concerning war theory, which is why all these companies are like have money, while the rest of Europe is, you know, kind of like, it's not to say everyone in Germany's a Nazi, like, you have to understand that. It's like, it's basically like American, German money mixed with Nazi money. Bloody hell, man. So, ultimately, oh God, they're basically Germans being like unfairly kind of labeled Nazis, while the actual Nazis no longer affiliated with that. Like, and not necessarily, and because there's like some fucked up, what do you call it, how do you say, oh my God. There's like some perception of, oh God, I'm losing my train of thought here. Basically, there's the perception if you're angry and you're German, then you're a Nazi. And that's not true. There's people who are being miscategorized. Whatever. Take off the stupid head. I need to be playing Sonic Forces or whatever. But basically, there's noble history that transcends just the history of Germany and the recent, like, kind of tragedy of World War II. And that's what Red, White, and Black is essentially affiliated with. It just so happens it encompasses all. It's not just those people who essentially utilize essentially a bunch of dead Jewish non-combatants as kind of like a get-out-of-jail-free card for what do you call it? To gain like a kind of access to Satanist extremist like kind of fan clubs. And if you want to contest what it is I'm saying, like, I mean, all you need to do is pretty much like look at Sega's console history. It's a swath of like media attacking it constantly and having to consistently reinvent itself, but being kind of like sardonic and sarcastic about it. G1 Genesis. Let's start from the Genesis. G1 Genesis, red, white, and black. Like, they said it can't be red, white, and black, so it's got to be G2. Like, so they make a smaller one that's just white and black, but that also is relative to noble culture, but it's still called a Genesis. And so, like, well, like, and then the excuse being we're gonna make like a CD component and a yada yada, and a 32X. But all under the thing of what do you call it? All under the title of Genesis. So, but they're still gonna fuck with it. So they're like, well, what about the Neptune? It's like that has some like cultural meanings and like whatever. And they're like, you know, we're gonna call it the Saturn because based on the moon of Saturn or whatever, people born under that, nobles born under that, are supposed to have less emotions, yada yada yada. And so they're like, well, we're gonna fuck with the Saturn. We're gonna treat it like it's a piece of garbage. And oh my God, we're gonna attack it. And so like, Sega became dormant. And then they tried to create something called a Dreamcast with one of the noble symbols on it, that little swirl you see there. Basically, Sega was like playing with kind of ideas that were like, no, nobles aren't necessarily evil. And just saying it. And people hated it. Certain people hated them for it. So while there were, you know, just your regular kind of Nintendo-ites, which is fine, that's just regular console war nonsense. That's normal, whatever. Like if some, like, I don't know, like if somebody said, like, if I was on the school bus and somebody were to say, Sega Genesis is crap, I'd be like, you know, like, I don't know, like, fuck your mom, asshole, which is, you know, you don't want to do that. You know, I'd be like, let me see. Hold on, let me see if I can shake this a bit. Because, like, I'm gonna start shaking this because somebody's fucking with me with this piece of shit. Oh, did I just break it? I almost broke it. Christ. Okay, alright. But, yeah. So, like, when you just, like, see, like, Sega, like, why they don't want to make a console, like, Sonic Episode 4 just straight being, like, kind of a troll game to pretty much be like, yeah, we know you people are fucking with us. Like, or whatever, Sonic 4 Episode 1, those things. That's where it comes from. It's like, yeah, whatever, and it's like, yeah, the score or whatever, they can fuck with you. It's like, but it's been that way, that's why I don't take it seriously. It's like, whatever. You can basically alter the physics in this thing and pretty much make it like a shit show. So if you ever wonder like who's talking to who at any one time, anyways, you got a dead zone, so they can basically instantly fucking like aim that thing at the dead zone at any one time. It's pretty much, it's just a couple of centimeters, but it pretty much makes it so that you definitely can't hit the ball. Anyways, not dwelling too much on that. Like, I'm not even certain this board, nor the other boards, actually, had, like, the dead zone. There might be versions of them that do. But anyways, you could basically be dealing with, like... So it's like, so what Sega system is, like, is a Master System? Or after those people were ousted out, the Mega Drive, and then the Genesis. So between their internal conflict and then their external conflict after the Genesis was released... Because, I mean, you could imagine if you had, like, a console called a Master System that's red, white, and black, people just say you're Nazis, right? No, they're not. but a case of like strategic mistaken identity and being attacked by those people who actually wanted Sega destroyed from the get-go and didn't want it to last the ages, as it were. Like, you know, and didn't want it to encompass all. That includes black and white. And oh yeah, blue, white, and black also pretty much like it pretty much means the same thing, but just relative to a separate bloodline type thing. It means the same thing all. So it's like if you ever like red, white, and blue, where that comes from, like why George Washington had fucked off teeth, etc. Like yeah, like fucking with teeth of a noble is a hate crime against nobles. So if you hear me talking about someone trying to fuck with my teeth, yeah, that's what that shit is. See that shit? Anyways. Anyhow. Anyhow. Uh-huh. Yeah, this is that dead zone. I want that dead zone. Anyways. I had to buy another pinball board, but it's like, you don't play this to take it seriously. You just play it to kind of talk over some crap with it. You know, like, if you have it, beer, drunk, pizza, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so anyways. So while this might seem like, I don't know what it would seem like to other people. That and just check the, what do you call it, the accounting of all these, well, these rich German companies that are after World War II, went after World War I, and they had to pay war reprimands, were essentially impoverished, which made Hitler powerful to begin with because of the poverty, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna stop the poverty, blah blah blah. And then after World War II, which had much higher loss in life, then everybody's rich, or at least certain companies are. So a compromise was made in exchange for da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Some people tried to make good on this kind of money that came from the weird will of America and ex-Nazi Germany. Some people not so much. Sega is one of the ones that tried to do good and was attacked by the ones that were not so much. So, it's Sega. Yeah. That'll do it for me.